This guy, No Limit Soldier, just doesn't quit. Now he's making fun of me because we had a GoFundMe page for my wife. Look, I wasn't begging anybody for money, you freaking jackass. People wanted to help my wife. It was family. That's all. They wanted to help us. At the time, we were actually living in a small apartment, and it was our goal to get a big house, which, by the way, I worked my ass off. I worked my ass off, and I made $200,000 between real estate. I was doing all kinds of breast cancer awareness events. I was doing all kinds of like gigs and music, and I was teaching. I had like 20, 30 piano students. I worked my ass off, and I came up with around $200,000. Okay. And I bought, well, actually, at first, excuse me, let me take that back. I rented a big house because we were in a smaller apartment. I rented is five, you can look it up, 520 Durant Avenue. This is Great Kills in Staten Island. I rented the house. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful house. Okay. And then down the line, okay, I decided to buy a house because I'm like, why am I wasting all my money here renting? So I wound up buying a house. But again, it was like I came up with this money myself. I worked for it. No one gave it to me. My fault. It's making it seem like my fault. My father gave me money. My father put me in jail. Let me educate you, No Limit Soldier. My mother divorced my father, moved in with us, and my father made up a story. Okay, this is the father that you think that is making me independently wealthy. Let me just educate you. My father locked me up, made up a story saying I was in front of his house in Brooklyn. Okay, and I was looking to harm him. Okay, he calls me up the next day crying his eyes out because he lied. He made up a story because he was upset that my mother divorced him and moved in with us. He was furious. He wanted revenge. He cried his eyes out to me. He's like, Richie, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, man. I had a tough childhood, man. I don't know where you're getting this impression at. My father left me nothing, brother. He left all his money for his grandchildren in a trust. Bottom line, it gave me nothing. Matter of fact, I'll make you laugh. I'm going to make you laugh. I gave my father money when I hit the lottery in 2019. My father used to always joke around with me, and he would say to me, hey, he goes, Rich, he goes, you're an idiot that you played a lotto. You're wasting your money. You're never going to win. He said, why don't you take your money, put it in like a nice big coffee jar? He's like, I guarantee you by the end of the year, you're going to have a ton of money. When I hit the lotto and I hit the 250,000, my father called me up. He said, Rich, you think you can lend me 10 cheese, $10,000? I said, no problem. Listen, he's still my father. We had our differences, but he's my father. I lent him the 10. I shouldn't say lend. It was a gift. I gave him the $10,000. He never gave it back to me. Okay. And you can ask my wife plenty of times my father needed me. I actually gave my father money. I have things there's a time I sent $20,000 to my father. Now, granted, he did pay that amount back, but that was over a course of a few years. I've always been there for my father. So this concept that he gave me money, I was the one who always gave my father money. Ask my wife. Ask my wife. You can ask my mother. My mother used to think I was nuts. She's like, why are you always giving him money for? Give me money, my mother used to say. But, he's my father. I take care of my mother. I'm a good son. But my father never gave me nothing. Nothing. I don't know where this guy, he's like, where's he getting this from? My father decided he wanted to leave his money for his grandchildren. That's it. Bottom line. Okay, so the whole thing with the GoFundMe page, we were in a small apartment. Family wanted to help us. I worked my ass off. I rented a house in Great Hills and ultimately bought a house in the Jersey Shore. I did that all myself. No one's help. I did music concerts, we did breast cancer awareness events, which not only benefited my wife, I benefited other women that had, cancer, stage 4 breast cancer. I told you. It was a small concert. I gave a woman $500. She hugged me, kissed me, showed me I was the greatest thing in the whole world. I had doctors come down. They were giving me their books. Everyone loved what I did. I had this model that she was famous in the 80s, that she was like one of the first models who actually was, photographed having a double mastectomy of her breast. And, she was like a supermodel in the 80s. I don't want to reveal her name without her consent, but, I met a lot of people, executives from the Trump, Amanda Miller from the Trump organization. She was the lady, in The Apprentice, who was the secretary. She's the vice president of marketing at the Trump organization. She even supported my wife. So I had celebrities, doctors. We did huge breast cancer awareness events. And I did, on top of that, I worked in real estate. I worked in sales. I busted my ass. And of course, I was completely transparent with every single sponsor. I told them, I said, my wife has stage 4 breast cancer. I explained the whole situation. I'm trying to give her a more healthier, a better lifestyle, a bigger house. I said that we're also supporting other women, which we did. Everything was transparent. So I worked my ass off. So this concept that my father gave me money, bro, you're dreaming, you're nuts. I did it all myself. When we first got married, you could look this up. You think my father bought me a $530,000 house? When we first got married, I bought a house, I think it was 336 Nighthawk Lane. Look this up. This is in 2005. In 2005, I bought over a $500,000 house, which I sold and made a $50,000 profit. Okay, I have been always living well. Okay, I rented out a house. Look it up, 520 Durant. Okay, Avenue, Great Hills. The house is a multi-million-dollar house. I rented it out. Now I have over a $500,000 house. Yeah, my father did all of this for me, right? You're a psychopath, no limit soldier. You're the one who's the loser. You're the one who lives with your father. You don't even own the tools. It's your father's tools. You're a loser, loser, loser. And let's debate. I'll debate you. You want to debate me? Bro, I'll destroy you in a debate. Let's debate.